Fancy meeting you guys here. Now, I just stopped a happy hour stream early. We were having an impromptu happy hour today, and I just stopped the stream when we were only halfway through the presentation because Jussie Smollett has been found guilty on 5 out of 6 charges. And I thought it would be fun for all of us to come together to have a moment of solidarity. Listen, I spent the week getting canceled for something stupid. I thought it would be fun for all of us to come together to have a moment of solidarity to watch Joy Reid's reaction to Jussie Smollett getting found guilty. I have no idea if this is YouTube legal. I have no idea. I've never streamed a major mainstream media show before, but we're going to do it anyway. I don't care. Don't care. I feel like I'm small enough to fly under the radar for possibly getting in trouble for this. I don't care. I think this is going to be great. We're going to watch Joy Reid react together as a community to the Jussie Smollett verdict. It's starting in 8 minutes. I have got, here, I'll even show you guys. I've got Chrome tab, Xfinity. I've got it ready to go. Ari Melber's there right now. They're talking about Secession, which is a great show. If you don't watch Secession's a great show. Well, I'm keeping an eye on it. And we're going to watch it together, and we're going to react to it together. This is going to be fun. If you need a drink, go get a drink. If you need to use the bathroom, now's a great time. You have 7 minutes left before the start of Joy Reid. George Andre Veloso Nunez says, Carlin, did you get the chance to watch the video I sent you in the locals community call? I did not, George, but I promise you, I will. I have not seen it yet. I promise you I will. Because come on, man. You don't get occasions like this every day. You just don't. I was already, sipping on a beer for happy hour. I haven't even had that. Like, this is my first beer. Might have to pour another one. Might have to. But guys, just in case I get a strike from YouTube, this is more important than ever. Just in case I get a strike from YouTube for doing this, because I conceivably could. Let's not give them any ideas. Let's not, go out of our way or anything. But please make sure you join my locals community, kb.locals.com. Please make sure you join my locals community on kb.locals.com. Viva was probably talking about how Rumble is violating free speech. And that is not my point. Viva is missing my point. I believe that Rumble is focusing on something stupid when they could instead focus on fixing their fucking website. Rumble should not be suing Odyssey. This is stupid. You want to see my rant on why Rumble is stupid for threatening to sue Odyssey? It's on my channel. I don't care if it's legal. I am not a lawyer. I'm an organizational psychologist. And you know how I identify dysfunctional organizations? When they do stupid shit like threatening to sue a competitor over a tweet. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. I did a whole video on that today. This is a happy stream, guys. This is a happy stream. This is a stream about Joy Reid having a meltdown in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. Rumble should fix their goddamn website. This is about Joy Reid, though. We're not going to talk about Rumble again. All right. No, it's okay. But was I correct about what Viva said? Was I correct? I'm sure he didn't acknowledge my organizational psychology concerns about the entire situation at all. He just focused on, Carlin is wrong about free speech. And I like Viva. Don't get me wrong. I like him a lot. I think he's awesome. I think he's so smart. I think he's such a cool guy. I would like to hang out with him. But I'm fairly certain he's not getting my point with that. This is not a legal concern. It's a joyous stream. It's a joyous stream in more ways than one. It's a joyous stream. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're waiting around for. But guys, please make sure you join my locals because I could conceivably get a little punishment for this. I could. I don't know if YouTube will. I could get a slap on the wrist. I don't have any strikes on my channel right now, so I think it'd be okay. But please make sure you join my locals just in case. Locals is free to join. You only pay if you want to unlock features and get all the extra perks. But please, we're going to be sitting here for a minute. We've got 4 minutes. 4 minutes is plenty of time for you to join my locals. It's plenty of time, man. If you really want to join as a supporter, it's $5 a month, $50 a year. That really helps me out. We do need a bingo card Joy Reid edition. Maybe if this works out, this is something I was actually thinking about. Maybe if this works out and I don't get in trouble, maybe we can make Joy Reid meltdown reaction streams like a regular thing. I was actually thinking about doing this anyway. I was like, what if we just watch Joy Reid together like every night and just laugh at her? Laughter is good for the soul. It's good for the soul. Bruce says my arguments were spot on in that Rumble video. I know. I know they were. I know. Ohio Trucker 1 was dropping off a load of steel when the news broke. Everyone at the mill was cheering and dancing. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes until the start. 3 minutes until the start. I'm going to pour myself another beer. Does anyone want a beer? Too bad I can't give you one through the internet, but I can give one for me. I am drinking Shipyard Pumpkinhead because I don't care if it's winter. I like pumpkin beers. Shipyard Pumpkinhead is a good quality kind of like pumpkin beer that's not too heavy, not too crafty. Just a good solid beer. Just a good solid beer. And because I'm bougie, I drink my beer out of wine glass because I like to feel fancy. I don't like beer glasses. I like wine glasses. Cheers to all of you. I would give you guys all a beer if I could. I would. Just not the way the internet works, you know. Just not the way the internet works. Oh yeah. What are the odds that Joy Reid will compare this verdict to Kyle Rittenhouse? I'm going to say hi. I'm going to say they're good. Yes, come to New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the best. Come to New Hampshire. #1 free state in the country. Florida's #2. Texas #21. What a sad showing by Texas. New Hampshire's the best. For those who don't know, I live in New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. I've lived here for over 10 years. I'm not going anywhere. I'm planted. We will become the sovereign kingdom of New Hampshire. All right, 2 minutes left. They're showing a commercial right now. I'll bring it up as soon as it starts. They're showing a commercial right now. Well, Tim Pool, I don't take Tim Pool seriously until he actually comes to New Hampshire, because right now he's screwing around with some utopia in Virginia, West Virginia, whatever, because of Cassandra Fairbanks. I don't take him seriously. Come on. He's coming to Porkfest, allegedly. We'll see. I will definitely be at Porkfest. I already have my tickets. All right, I'm bringing it up. I'm going to bring it up. Okay, bringing it up. Bing! Let's make sure the sound is working. Test run.
Votes.
Can you guys hear that? Is that
Bush
good?
And Gore. Terrorists today crashed 2 hijacked jetliners into the World Trade Center.
Let me know if sound is good.
Catastrophic breakup in midair. On board,
oh, Brian Williams is retiring from this.
astronauts.
Boo-hoo.
Some of the best and brightest
Boo-hoo.
this country has to offer.
Yes.
Barack Obama did it. It looks
Awesome.
like with 284. Over and out. The war in Iraq officially over. Donald John Trump has been elected 45th president
Thank God,
of the
miss
United
Trump.
States.
How many people
we now
miss
have
Trump?
A special counsel to head
How
the
many
Russia
people miss
investigation. He is Robert Mueller. On behalf of all our colleagues at the networks of NBC News, good night.
The news, first and foremost, is always about what's happening out there.
I miss him a lot.
Not in here, which is how Brian approaches reporting and anchoring. Well, tonight, we salute him for his extraordinary contributions.
I met Ari Melber the day I went to the Trump rally. He didn't want to take a picture with me.
So many years getting the news from him.
I met Ari
He's
Melber.
Paved the way in more
it's an old picture on my
avenues and
Instagram. If you go to my
aspects than I
Instagram,
can
you'll see the
certainly
picture of me
capture
with
with
Ari.
words right now. So I will
He's
just say
looking
at the end of our broadcast, thank you, Brian. And we will be watching
All right, guys.
tonight.
Get ready.
That does it
Joy
for the beat.
Reid's coming up.
The readout with Joy Reid starts right now. Hi, Joy.
How you doing, Ari? I have to say really quickly, my favorite Brian Williams story is when I was working as a web news editor at WTVJ. I remember he came in. I'm like,
when
oh
she
my
was
God, that's
blogging
Brian
about
Williams.
how much he hates
and he set
gay
up
people.
shop like sitting next to us, and we were just the web news guys. Like people didn't necessarily talk to us, but he took the time to ask each of us our names, chatted. I was like, this is the nicest man I've ever met. He was so cool and so open and so personable. We love him. We love Brian White.
Amen. And I'll just add, you know,
Joy's hair
we
has
sit
gotten
here and
better. I
try
will
to
give
figure
her
out how
that.
to
Joy
do the
Reid's
news,
hair
and
has
it's
gotten
kind of a
better.
tough job. watching him
I don't know
from
what she
before I
was
ever worked in this
thinking
business,
when
it was
she
like,
first started
that
this
looks
show,
like
but her
how
hair
to
was
do
not
it.
good. Her
If you
hair
could
has
even
gotten
do
better. It's
10% of
gotten
it
better.
the way he does it.
Amen.
She's got
And
crazy
he's
eyes,
funny.
though.
He's hilarious. We love him.
Crazy eyes.
Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. Okay, good evening, everybody.
It's going to be fine.
We have a lot to get to in the
Oh,
next
yeah,
hour,
we do,
including
Joy.
2 legal setbacks for Donald Trump. Late today, a federal appeals court ruled against his effort to withhold documents
They
from the
always
January
deflect.
6th committee.
She did this
And
with
the New York
Kyle
Attorney
Rittenhouse, too. They
General is
always
seeking a
deflect by
deposition
talking
from
about
Trump
something else.
early next month as part of her investigation into the Trump organization. And we're going to get to
They
both of those
always
stories
deflect.
shortly. But we begin the readout tonight with something that's become abundantly
God
clear.
damn it!
In the battle to save this American experiment with multiracial democracy, there is one party that's standing up for
She's
small d
deflecting.
democracy,
She's
the
deflecting.
government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and that is the Democratic Party. And then there's the party of open hostility to democracy, and that's the Republican
It might not
Party.
even matter.
Just look at the past 24 hours. President Biden began a 2-day global virtual summit this morning on renewing democracy here and abroad. And while he didn't explicitly mention the attack on democracy on January 6th, he stressed that democracy worldwide is headed in the wrong direction.
In the face of sustained and alarming challenges to democracy,
What's going on with the camera?
universal
Why is the
human
camera
rights,
shaking?
and all around the world, democracy needs champions. Here in the United States, we know as well as
He's
anyone
reading the teleprompter
that
so hard. He's
renewing
like,
our democracy
what does the
and strengthening
teleprompter
our
say?
democratic institutions
What does it
requires
say?
constant effort. We need to enact what we call the Freedom to Vote Act.
I knew Joy Reid
and
was
the
going
John
to
Lewis voting
deflect.
right
I knew it.
advancement
She's
act.
going to bury
That's
Jussie
gonna
Smollett.
remain a
Maybe she won't even
priority
talk
for my
about it.
administration until we get it done. Inaction is
We'll still
not
enjoy
an
it anyway.
option.
Doesn't matter.
Later, at a ceremony honoring the late Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole at the Capitol, Biden called him a hero of democracy.
Well, isn't that
And make no
ironic?
mistake, Dole wasn't perfect. He wasn't all great. He was a diehard partisan Republican who backed Donald Trump. But as a senator, he co-sponsored an extension of the Voting Rights Act in 1982 over the opposition of the
Donald
Reagan
Trump
administration.
permanently funded
That would
historically
be
black colleges and
impossible
universities.
in today's GOP, which
Donald
is now
Trump created
openly trying
opportunity
to
zones in
nullify the
underserved
votes of black
areas.
and brown Americans, while they're fully embracing their inability to accept an election loss. Mango Mussolini's handpicked GOP candidate, Republican candidate for governor of Georgia, David Perdue, told Axios
Mango
that
Mussolini,
if
that's what she
he'd been
calls
the
him.
governor last year, he would not have certified Georgia's election results, meaning
Good.
he would have supported the coup. Now, never mind
Yes.
that there was zero evidence of fraud in Georgia's election. Multiple recounts confirmed the
Wrong.
former president's loss. And Georgia law does not allow the governor to reject the results. But Perdue's pro-coup stance is just one sign of how deeply the former president's anti-democratic big lie
Why are they still so
has
scared
become
of Trump?
Republican dogma.
Why is this
Georgia Republicans
leading?
have also wasted no time
On the
taking
day
advantage of a
Jussie
provision
Smollett
in
gets
their
found
restrictive
guilty,
voting law
why are
passed
they
this
leading
year,
with Donald Trump
allowing
is a
state election boards
racist?
to take control of county election boards. Reuters reports that they're now racing to purge black Democrats from those boards, reorganizing 6 county boards in recent months through county-specific legislation. In one rural county, local judges appointed a white Republican to replace a black Democrat, giving Republicans a 1-vote majority. In another, the Republican County Commission ousted 2 black Democrats from the board. Boards in 2 of the 6
Would she
counties
have been less
already
bothered if
moved
they had been
to
white
restrict
Democrats?
access to the ballot. I'm joined now by Aaron Haynes, editor-at-large of the 19th, and Olivia Troy, director of the Republican Accountability Project and former advisor to Vice President Pence. And Aaron, I want to start with you about Georgia.
An advisor to Pence.
There is going to be a legal
let's
challenge.
see.
We'll note that The Hill
Balance.
is reporting that a judge has cleared away. A federal judge did
Balance.
they rejected a request to dismiss a legal challenge to that restrictive law. The lawsuit was filed this spring by the Georgia NAACP and other groups that argues the state's new voting limits threaten to illegally suppress the vote. So that is good news. The courts are at least acting. But when it comes to either redistricting or literally attempting to seize control of every place that black people vote in Georgia, Republicans are moving right ahead with destroying democracy. What is being done on the ground to turn that?
Why is this non-breaking news story leading Joy Reid tonight? That's the question we should be asking. Why is this her lead? There is no timely relevance to this at all. Not at all. She just doesn't want to talk about Jussie Smollett. Maybe she'll get to it in the next segment.
One of the main avenues of recourse that folks have who understand that this has the potential to be disenfranchising to voters. And
exactly.
I understand that Republicans in Georgia continue to say that this is about
Joy
election
Reid is
integrity,
doing
but it's
fake
kind of
news
hard
by
to
omission. She
question
is.
that when you had the governor
Look, she
of
knows
Georgia,
it too. You
Brian
can
Kemp,
see it in
and
her eyes.
Secretary of State
She
Brad
can see.
Raffensperger
She knows
saying,
we're watching right
that
now.
these
You can see it in
elections
her
were,
eyes.
deemed safe, secure, and accurate, and they were run not once, not twice, but 3 times.
It
the
is
results
risque.
of those elections,
It is.
despite the former president,
Mount that
looking
like
for,
button.
those
If you hate Joy
12,000
Reid,
or
mount
so
that
votes
like
that would
button.
have declared him the victor in Georgia. But that Reuters story, to your point, Joy, says 6 county boards have been taken over since the passage of that SB 202 earlier this year. Now there's 159 counties in Georgia, so we got a long way to go here. But that this is a cause for alarm.
She knows what she's doing,
because you have a Republican-controlled state election board that's assuming control of county boards that they deem underperforming, whatever
my dog's
they
freaking out
decide
about
that
something.
means. And they're also looking, by the way, into Fulton County, which is
probably
the most
freaking out
Democratic,
about how much he
and in the
hates
South,
Joy
that means
Reid.
also the
Even though my
blackest,
dog is
county
black, he still hates Joy
in the
Reid.
state. So these are rural counties. Normally, this kind of thing would happen
Yeah,
outside of the bright
exactly.
spotlight.
Why is a story about Trump? Why is a story about Trump leading Joy Reid's show right now? Can they talk about anything else? Do they understand news about anything else? Like, without Trump, these people would have nothing. They would have absolutely nothing. I have mixed feelings about whether or not I want Trump to run again, but I kind of want him to run just so these people would, like, scream about it all the time. I think it'd be funny. But, I mean, come on. There's no reason they should be covering this story right now. This is not news. It's literally not news.
To potentially disenfranchise so many of the people that you saw standing in line in record numbers just this time last year and again in January to turn that state blue.
And the thing is, Olivia, you have on the one hand,
even Ari Melber was talking about
part of
Jussie
this is
Smollett.
GOTV.
Ari Melber was talking about it when I
Because
turned this on.
the Republican voter base cannot stand to lose. They're just like Donald Trump. They stomp their feet and get mad, and if they lose, and they say, well, I'm not even going to come out and vote if I don't get to win. I want to guarantee I'm going to win. And Trump wants to guarantee he's going to win.
That's actually...
And so people like David Perdue are saying, well, if I'd been in there, I would have guaranteed.
Listen, Joy Reid just made a good point. Republicans are their own worst enemy. Republicans, and I say this as someone who's not going to vote Republican because I think they deserve to lose. But, like, Republicans are their own worst enemy. They say, we're not going to vote. There's going to be fraud, so we're just not going to try. Republicans shouldn't do that shit if they want to win. They all need to go out and vote.
And so part of it is that GOTV.
The stupid argument.
Don't worry, we'll make sure you vote. There's also these restrictive, let's put up this redistricting map that essentially just draws around a little circle around everybody black and says, we're going to put those in a box and make sure every county is majority white. It is about GOTV, but
what happened to Vernon Jones?
Olivia, about not believing that elections are legitimate.
Serious question. What the hell happened to Vernon Jones? Because Vernon Jones was running for governor. Vernon Jones, I think, likes attention way too much. I do. I think he likes a lot of attention. What happened to him? He just disappeared off the face of the earth. What happened?
The system before our very eyes right now, and it is happening at all levels.
I think she's going to cover it. I don't think she's going to lead with it. I think she's going to cover it. I bet she will. We'll get through this, guys.
That continue to push these lies, and we're getting at the state and local level by the voting laws that are being passed at the states and the leaders that are
Trump is definitely running. Let's do a poll in the chat.
With Purdue's statement
Let's do a poll
about the 2020 election. I actually think that should be a disqualifier because you are blatantly lying as a person running for the candidacy of governor in a state. And I think that should be a disqualifying statement.
See what you guys think. Is Trump running or is he not running?
People. But I think, I think this is going to be a very hard moment for our country. The more that these movements continue to enable this to happen. And I think it's also a very dangerous moment for our country because all of these things actually undermine public confidence.
Lincoln Project.
Not only in our electoral system, but they're undermining public confidence.
No, I meant Vernon Jones.
And like these threats.
Vernon
Jones,
are
ongoing.
Black rep from Georgia who was running for governor,
going forward,
defected from the Democrats.
I'm very concerned about what's going to happen in the 2022 midterms. And look, we're in the middle of Democracy Week, right, on a global summit. And I just keep thinking about the fact that what happened to the United States being the beacon of democracy and setting the example for the world right now?
What a turncoat! You can look at her eyes. You know she's a traitor.
What's happening here?
She is a traitor turncoat.
She worked for Pence. She's a
turncoat.
You've got to believe they're pointing to that. They're pointing to that example, and they're
Republican Accountability Project. Exactly, that turncoat.
Globally as well. I mean, there's multiple layers of implications of what is happening here.
Well, I mean, you've got. So at the local level, I mean, it's thorough, right, Aaron? I mean, you've got these conspiracy theorists who do everything from QAnon on, running for all of these local and state official spots. So they're going to be in position from the school board all the way up theoretically to the governorship to all be in place to implement the big.
So Trump is refusing to back Vernon Jones because he's backing David Perdue. Vernon Jones likes attention, man. I'll tell you what. I've been in a lot of events with Vernon Jones. I think he likes attention way too much. I do. I think he got caught up in all the excitement with him leaving the Democrats and all the attention that got him and all the conservative accolades and the love bombs and all that. I think he likes attention way too much.
Managed to put in place a Stacey Abrams as governor. Then they will have done that on top of what they just did with these two senators.
Nice guy.
God
I'm not
knows
saying he's
what's
not a nice
gonna
guy. He's a
happen.
very nice
God
guy.
knows what happens
He likes
after
my
that.
hair. He
Your
compliments
thoughts?
it when he sees it.
Well, and this is why you have
But I think he likes
Democrats in places
attention.
like Georgia and places like Texas
Oh, there's
continuing
a-
to push for
there's an
federal
R
legislation
case.
around voting rights.
There's
right?
an
Because
R
while
case.
voting rights is stalling in Congress, voter suppression is absolutely on the march
Oh, that's,
at the state
you
level
know,
and is going to be when state
you guys know
legislatures
how I feel about
reconvene
that.
at the top of 2022. So, what's happening in between these presidential cycles at the local level absolutely sets the stage around ballot access in the upcoming election and
Well,
beyond.
David Perdue's running, and David
Olivia
Perdue's
mentioned
pretty
the
solid.
democracy
think.
summit that's happening right now in Washington. The remarks that President Biden and Vice President Harris were giving were being made to other countries, but they just as easily could have been made to Congress, right? I mean, I was at President Biden's major speech in Philadelphia when he talked about voting rights, and really so many of the organizers that helped to put this administration in office are really wanting him to continue to push for this.
I didn't say
he
it.
called the fight for democracy the defining challenge of our
I didn't
time.
say
He
it.
brought up, quoted
said,
the late Congressman John Lewis, who we
R.
know was a civil rights icon who risked his life for voting rights. In Tulsa, he tasked Kamala Harris with voting rights as part of her portfolio. And she said today, things like ensuring every eligible American can access the right to vote is an effort that she's proud to lead, and that executive action is not enough. She said the status of women is the status of democracy in this country.
R.
And so, saying those kinds of things on the world stage, I think absolutely indicates that they are aware that the rest of the world is watching. President Biden said
All right,
that
it
the
looks
US
like
is
about
going to lead by
80% of you think that
lead by
Trump
example,
will run
but,
again. I
right
agree
now,
with
that
that. I think
example very
Trump's
much
running.
looks like voter suppression as opposed
But he
to
could still change his mind.
voting rights, right? And so I think the world is wondering.
Did anyone see that Kevin, I'm just going to, because I don't really care what they're talking about right now. Did anyone see that Kevin McCarthy said that if the Republicans take back the House, they're going to try to, I think it was McCarthy. I might be wrong about that. But it would have had to have been McCarthy. So Kevin McCarthy said that if the Republicans take back the House, they're going to try to install Trump as the Speaker of the House, which would be hilarious. It would be amazing. That would be hilarious. Basically, with politics right now, I just want the most hilarious possible thing to happen. I'm a libertarian now. We're not going to win anything ever. So I just want the most hilarious. Yes. Oh, Ali Alexander. Holy shit. What's Ali Alexander up to? I always hated that guy. He hated me too.
The other regards her own political future. Meanwhile,
Jussie Smollett, Joy. Jussie Smollett, come on. Do the report. If Joy Reid avoids Jussie Smollett entirely, holy shit. Holy shit. If Joy Reid avoids talking about Jussie Smollett entirely in this entire show, I don't even know what to tell you. Yeah, Ali Alexander. I always knew that guy was a snake. I always knew that guy was a snake. I'm going to drop the T. I don't really care. I always knew that guy was a snake. This is part of the reason I was never involved in Stop the Steal at all. Also because I didn't really think it was going to do anything, and I like Ali Alexander always worried me. Now, I say that I don't think Ali Alexander on January 6th actually did anything wrong. He didn't. He was scheduled to hold a permitted rally. It was permitted. Like, Brandon was supposed to speak at it. Like, the reason I was at the Capitol on January 6th was to go to the permitted rally that Ali Alexander had scheduled. But I always knew Ali Alexander was a snake. I think he's a snake. I don't think he's a good person. I think he's a grifter. He made a lot of money on that. Oh my God. He made a lot of money on that whole shill. Now, that's not to say there were people involved in Stop the Steal that I actually really did like. but not Ali Alexander. I don't feel bad for that guy at all. All right, guys. Well, it seems as though Joy Reid's not even, she's just going to avoid the topic entirely. We're going to watch the show because apparently this is okay and I'm allowed to do this. Excellent. If I could, okay, let me ask this question while we're on a break because this is actually an idea that I've had. Would you guys be interested in regular streams of just us reacting to Joy Reid being a crazy person? I'm open to it, but I want to know if you guys are into. Let me do a poll. Another poll. Well, we're on commercial. We got nothing else to do. Would you like regular Joy Reid live reaction streams? Yes? No? All right, guys. The poll is up. If you would like regular Joy Reid reaction streams, please answer the poll. I don't mind doing them. I think that's kind of fun. But let's see what you guys have to think. So you'll be anonymous. You'll be if you don't want regular Joy Reid reaction streams, that's fine. I won't judge you. Don't worry about it. Filipino White Boy says making Trump speaker would be great. Let DeSantis be president. I think DeSantis would be a much better choice. A significantly better choice for the Republicans. But I think if Trump runs, ain't no getting around it. Trump is going to win. If Trump runs, Trump is going to win the nomination. I don't think there's any way around it. Guys, if you're just joining the stream, we are reacting to Joy Reid's show to see if she talks about Jussie Smollett. She hasn't yet mentioned it yet, but we're on commercial right now. We're on a commercial break, so we're doing some other stuff. Please mount that like button. If just in case I get a strike for this, please join my locals, kb.locals.com. You can always find me on Locals. It is free to join. You get all my videos ad-free. You know, we're here anyway. We're on a commercial. Plenty of time to join Locals. Locals is the best. My Locals community is the best Locals community. We do 2 Zoom calls every single week. I spend about 6 hours on Zoom every week with my Locals. We get to know each other. I consider many of them friends. So in regards to Rumble, I know Viv is coming from a litigation standpoint. That's not what I was talking about. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about Rumble being boneheaded. I'm talking about the video I posted earlier today about Rumble suing Odyssey or threatening to sue Odyssey, which is stupid. By the way, what I found out after that video is this is one day after Rumble hired a former NSA lawyer. One day after they threatened to sue Odyssey. Okay. Oh, it's back. It's back.
There is breaking news in the January 6th investigation. Late
this
this
is not breaking news.
An appeals court rejected Donald Trump's efforts to block turning over White House records to the
breaking
January
news.
6th
Jussie Smollett verdict.
In a unanimous opinion from the 3-judge panel, the court
all right, guys,
we'll do
super chats. We'll do super chats in the next commercial.
President Biden's
we'll do super chats in the next commercial.
Executive
okay.
privilege
All
over
super chats in the next commercial.
It's expected that Trump's lawyers will file an appeal to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the top Republican on the House Select Committee, Liz Cheney, tweeted today that the committee has already met with nearly 300 witnesses, including 4 more key figures today.
She's not going to cover
Kash
it.
Patel, the former chief of staff to then acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller, Chris Krebs, former director of the Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity Agency, who was fired by Trump after declaring the last election to be the most secure in America's history. Attorney John Eastman, notorious author of
the worst possible pictures of Kash Patel and Ali Alexander. Those are the worst possible pictures of both Kash Patel and Ali Alexander.
Now, as far as criminal charges go, the government has brought
Alexander.
charges against more than 700 of the MAGA supporters who participated in the insurrection itself. And serious questions remain about how so many people from across the country were convinced to take such radical actions that day. Joining me now is Ayman Mohyeldin, host of MSNBC's Ayman, in the new MSNBC original podcast, American Radical, that investigates the radicalization of one of the Capitol insurrectionists.
They were
and
let
Glenn
in
Kirshner,
by
former federal
the
prosecutor
Capitol
and
Police.
an MSNBC
Capitol
columnist.
Police
But I am going to start with you on this appeals court decision. You know, I don't have a lot of faith in the United States Supreme Court, quite bluntly. But what do you think the chances are that they will, number one, review this in expedited fashion, and number two, that they will reverse, in your view, reverse this decision to say, no, executive privilege really does mean the current president, not the last one?
You know, first of all, Joy, there's no reason for the Supreme Court to exercise review of this case. There's no serious constitutional issue to be decided or resolved. This is almost a rare
If there's no
instance
serious
where you
constitutional
have
issue,
two
then what are you
branches of
afraid of?
government in agreement. The legislative branch wanted the information from the National
Just because you
Archives,
have two
and
branches
the
of government in
executive
agreement does
branch,
not mean the
Joe
Supreme
Biden
Court
said,
does not get to
"We
be a
think
check
these
on that.
documents
That's the
should
whole
be
point of
turned
checks and
over
balances.
because it's in the national interest for the House Select Committee to get to the bottom of January 6th.
That's the whole point.
There really is no reason for the Supreme Court to exercise its discretion and take review of the case. And I'm with you, Joy. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Supreme Court as presently constituted. But, here's what I will say. When they had the opportunity to review election challenges, they declined to do it. When they had an opportunity to decide whether Donald Trump is a king, because they had to decide whether he should be required to turn over tax returns and financial documents, they bluntly said, "You're not a king.
Why are
You're
they
subject to
covering
the
this
system
today when
like any
Jussie
other human
Smollett just
being."
got found
And
guilty?
so I think on the presidential
Maybe
power
Chris
front
Reid,
and on
Chris,
the
what the fuck is
integrity
his
of
name?
our
Not Chris
elections
Reid.
front,
Oh God,
the Supreme Court's
Chris Hayes.
track record
Maybe Chris
has
Hayes will cover
actually
it.
been
We'll,
pretty
we'll,
good,
we'll
unlike
if Joy
its
Reid
track
doesn't
record
talk
on
about
other
Jussie
fronts.
Smollett, we'll
Yeah,
go
I
into
mean,
Chris
and
Hayes.
even
I'll
part
do
of
this
my
all
lack
fucking
of
night until
faith
one of them
in the
talk
Supreme
about
Court is
it.
that,
I will
and
stream
you have a
all
podcast
night
that's
or
about the
until YouTube
radicalization
cuts
of one
my
of the
stream. I don't
individuals that was
care.
at the Capitol. But I think the radicalization of the Republican Party, it's from the rooter to the tutor. It's from top to bottom. It's a Mark Meadows, who used to be a normcore Republican congressman, who now is facing potential contempt of Congress by his former colleagues because he's decided that, no, I don't believe
Every time they
subpoenas are
say
real.
Trump
I have to
drink,
follow them.
every
But
time
the
they say
Steve
Trump
Bannon
drink,
model
cheers,
is now
guys.
the model, right? Where you can just say, I just ignore the subpoena. And it goes all the way down to your average, what used to be a regular Republican who's now a QAnon. And so I think that radicalization to me also includes the court, that where they're like,
she just called all normal Republicans QAnon. Oh, how little Joy Reid knows about anything.
Get rid of it because
Please.
our religious beliefs that we're going to get rid of abortion. It's total.
Please.
And so I wonder what you make of it, just as somebody who's, you've been able
QAnon
to
is
cover international
ostracized at this point.
radicalization
QAnon is
movements
a
and the domestic
punchline.
one
I'm
here.
sorry to any
Where do
Q
you see
people who
that
might
sort
be
of through
watching, but
points?
you're kind of
Well,
crazy.
listen, I mean,
you are.
forget
Sorry.
Mark Meadows for a second. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's telling you that she is somebody who has espoused QAnon theories. She may have apologized for them, but quite honestly, when she speaks in private, she still perpetuates
Just because
that the
someone
election was stolen.
apologizes for something
And so
doesn't
she's still
mean
out there in places like
anything, is what they're
Northwest
saying
Georgia, where
right
I spent
now.
the better part of the last year investigating this radicalization. And it's people like
I
her
will
who are
stream
taking
all night
young
until
women and
MSNBC
men
talks
from
about
the QAnon
Jussie
world
Smollett.
and
I will do this all
connecting them to
fucking
the
night.
Trump world and the MAGA world
Don't
and
care.
saying, hey, listen, if you partake and you become a foot soldier in our movement, you can go and try to overturn our democracy, overturn our election. Put the Supreme Court on the side for a moment. When you're looking at what is happening and playing out with the issue of radicalization, it's young people. They may be destitute. They may certainly have some, out on their luck, if you will, or down on their luck, bombarded with this disinformation of that
Yes,
the
I
election
am
was
exceedingly
stolen.
young.
And then they follow demagogues, whether it's Marjorie Taylor Greene or whether it's Donald Trump, who says, I alone can fix it. If I shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, they're still going to support me. And they believe that they are
nothing.
the foot
We are
soldiers
20 minutes
in
into
this
this
movement.
show.
So when he
Joy Reid
says,
is
go up to
avoiding
the
this topic
Capitol
entirely.
and stop the transfer of power, stop the certification
No, these
of the
people are
election.
crazy.
They're prepared to do it, and in
nuts.
some cases, tragically,
They're crazy.
pay for it with their lives. And that's part of what we've been investigating over the last year. How did this young woman in our podcast, Roseanne, go from being someone who was apolitical, somebody whose family said she actually made fun of Donald Trump early on in his administration? She didn't take him seriously. How does she go from that to suddenly voting for the first time in her life and becoming a foot soldier in this very dangerous ideology?
Right, and we're gonna play. Let's play a quick clip from it. Let's play a clip from this special that Eamon produced.
Let me ask you this, Justin. You said I don't understand why this is being portrayed as a violent event.
There were not
But
four
at the end
people
of the day,
dead.
you have
That was
four
a
people
lie.
who are dead.
That was a lie.
Yes.
The only person who
Does
is
the
dead is
president,
the
President Trump, have
Trump
blood
person
on
who
his
was
hands?
shot.
Does he have?
That is a bold-faced lie.
You don't think the
There were
president
not
bears
four
any
people killed as a
responsibility
result
as
of
to
that.
what-
That is a lie.
It was a peaceful event.
It was a peaceful
Absolutely
event.
not.
But it turned violent.
I know.
Like
and we weren't
BLM
the
riots.
perpetuators of the
Like the
violence.
BLM people who
You
sieged the
understand?
White
It
House
was peaceful,
all
peaceful,
summer.
peaceful,
It
peaceful.
was.
It was peaceful.
Yes, co-sign.
And just to say with you for just a moment, it is
Co-sign.
a
I
special
was
on the
there.
podcast.
Peaceful.
It's total, right? And it's whether it's this person or the woman from Publix, the Publix heiress who's sending $650,000 over to say, let's fund this, stop the steal movement. it doesn't feel like
Ali
it's
Alexander
like it
grifted
can
on a
be
lot of
separated, right? It
goddamn
feels
money.
like it's sort
A
of
lot.
permanent radicalization.
Yeah, and you know, I'm so glad you played that soundbite
But he didn't
because
do anything
from the
wrong
podcast,
on January
because
6th.
first of all,
I just don't
that
like
was the
him.
guy who was with Roseanne in the final hours,
I can
final
both
minutes of her
acknowledge
life. This interview
that
that
I
we
don't like
tracked out
someone and
happened
say
the
they
day
didn't do anything
after.
wrong.
So it gives you a sense that even after the world had seen the insurrection, even though we had seen Trump supporters attack the police with flags, waving Trump flags, throwing projectiles, hurting the police.
Oh my God,
smashing
they were
through windows,
waving flags.
They still
Oh my
believe
God,
that
they
it
were
was a
waving
peaceful
flags.
protest. They
No,
still believe
not
that it was
flags.
not them that
Anything
were the
but
violent ones and that they
flags.
were being instigated and agitated by Antifa and BLM. So
We
it
should
gives
do
you a
this
sense
every
of
day.
the denial that
We're
they
gonna
live
watch
in, the
MSNBC every
inability
day
to
together.
see the reality for what it is,
I'm
and they
already
live in
feeling
their own
this.
bubble. Whether they are somebody who's living overseas funding money and funneling money to these groups and movements, or whether it is, as the president and his allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene continue to say behind closed doors that the
People
election was
are
stolen,
insane.
it is ultimately fueling a very dangerous
They are
radicalization
insane.
in this country. Listen, really quickly, the number of people who have messaged me since this podcast has come out saying, I have a mother who's a QAnon believer. I have a sister who has gone down this rabbit hole. They have severed their relationship.
Not everyone who was there on January 6th was a Q person. There were definitely Q people there. Q people are kind of crazy. But January 6th was a mostly peaceful protest. If they had wanted to burn down the Capitol, they would have, unlike BLM trying to siege the White House over the summer. They did not. They walked between the velvet ropes. It was a mostly peaceful day. Some people got a little out of hand.
Muslims were like posting pictures of themselves with the whole family, including 5-year-olds holding firearms and holding AR-15s. You know, let me very quickly ask you, Glenn, does it become a defense? You know, we going all the way up to this public's heiress who's throwing all this money at this insurrection activity. People like what's her name? What's her name?
5
Sydney
people did not
Powell,
die.
who used to
1
be a
person
respected
died.
attorney who's
Ashley
gone all
Babbitt
the way
died.
down the rabbit hole,
And
just
she was
being
shot by
investigated
Capitol
for her
Police
activities.
when she
Is
wasn't doing anything
radicalization
violent.
at some point
1
something that they
person
can use in
died.
their
If
own
you believe that
defense?
more than 1 person died on January
It's not a
6th, you have
legal
been lied
defense,
to.
but it's a mitigator. In other words, it
1
might
person
reduce
died.
somebody's punishment or the sentence they're facing for the crimes they committed, but it will not get them out from under criminal responsibility for what they did. But all of this, Joy, it highlights the fact that Donald Trump is the one who incited it. And his criminal associates are the one who stoked these flames with their lies about stolen
1
votes and
person
stolen
died on
elections.
January 6th,
And
and it was a
Donald
Trump
on
supporter.
January 6th told people what to do. Go down there and stop the steal. That's an action word. And the fact that he used the word
He
steal,
said peacefully.
we all know that's a lie.
He said
so
peacefully.
that provides the corrupt intent for
He
Donald Trump's inciting this
enumerated
insurrection.
peacefully.
That's where the responsibility
These
needs
people
to
are
lie.
such liars.
Yeah, and we're using the right word for it, and that's what we have to call it. It's radicalization. No different than if it's those,
These people
you know,
are
in
such
another
liars.
country. It's still radicalization by an individual who has a self-interest.
All
and who
right,
doesn't
we're
do the
halfway through
violence
Joy
himself
Reid
because
show.
he
Let's
doesn't
see
wanna
if she's
pay
going
for
to
the
talk about
crimes. He
Jussie
lets other
Smollett.
people
I'm
do
sure
the
we're about to go to
crimes.
commercial.
Eamon Mohideen, congratulations on the podcast. Glenn Kirshner, thank you very much. Appreciate you both. Still ahead, New York State Attorney General
She's
Letitia
not going
James
to talk
would
about
love a
it.
word with the twice-impeached,
Holy
disgraced former
shit,
president about
Joy.
his business practices.
We're going
Does
to
this
watch
mean
Chris
that her
Hayes.
investigation into the Trump organization is nearing an end? We'll be right back.
Wow. Wow. It seems as though Joy Reid might seriously do an entire show without talking about Jussie Smollett. But have no fear. If Joy Reid doesn't talk about it, we'll roll right into Chris Hayes. I don't care. I'll sit here all night. I want an MSNBC reaction. If Chris Hayes doesn't talk about it, we'll roll right into Rachel Maddow. One of them's going to talk about it. Ari Melber was talking about it during the 6 o'clock hour. But for right now, I'm going to do some super chats. Guys, please mount that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Now, 72% of you want me to continue to do live MSNBC reactions. That's quite a bit. It's not everyone. I understand MSNBC isn't everyone's cup of tea. That's a lot. That's a lot. Thank you for participating in that poll. Just a reminder, mount the like button and join me on locals just in case I get kicked off of YouTube for this shit, because God knows I might. Let's do some super chats. 1, the Speaker of the House would allow the Dems to share the blame with Trump in 2024. That's, a fair point. Also, can Trump run for president effectively if he also is bogged down with Speaker of the House responsibilities? But it would be hilarious. Let's just be clear. It would be hilarious. It would be amazing. Has there ever been a president that was also the Speaker of the House? Trump would be winning again. AM says, how can we manifest Trump as Speaker? What you need to do to manifest anything is to feel the emotion that you would feel if Trump was Speaker. Would you feel joy? Would you feel elation? Would you feel a dark, deep sense of humor that the Democrats are getting exactly what they deserve? Feel that now. Meditate on that now. Allow yourself to experience that emotion now. Think about how amazing that would be. Talk about it all the time. Talk about it with your friends. Like the way you manifest Trump as Speaker in the House in the exact same way that the Democrats manifested racism in this country, which is that you don't shut up about it. The Democrats very literally created racism because they talked about racism all the time. Not that racism was completely extinct, it wasn't, but the Democrats made the country more racist because they talked about racism all the time. You want Trump to be Speaker? Talk about Trump being Speaker all of the time. Naruto says, those who said yes probably secretly hate ourselves. I'm assuming, Naruto, that meant for one of the polls. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down. I think that's all the super chats for right now. Oh, no. Emily L says stream for the all-night stream fund. Guys, I will be taking super chats on the commercials if you want to contribute to the all-night stream fund. If not, that's cool too. That's cool. I don't mind. We're all friends here. I think that's it. Hang on. Let me just get the bottom of the chat. I think that's it. Oh, God, you guys are chatting up a storm. I love it. So who thinks, let's do another poll. Will Joy Reid mention Jussie Smollett? Yes? No? Let's see what they think. Let's see what you guys think. Let's see what you think. Oh, Sin, thank you for the all-night stream poll. Okay, guys, it's coming back. It's coming back.
That Mr. Trump inflated his total assets when it served his purposes, such as trying to be listed amongst the wealthiest people in Forbes, and deflated
this is not
his
news.
assets
This
to
is
reduce
not
his real
news.
estate taxes.
Michael Cohen
Thanks
is
to
not
former
news.
Trump fixer Michael Cohen's testimony in 2019, New York Attorney General Tish James started looking into Donald Trump's finances. And now she's planning to depose Trump, calling him in to answer questions under oath on January 7th. James is investigating whether Trump committed fraud by improperly inflating the value of his assets on annual financial statements.
I cannot believe that Joy Reid has the gall to not mention this. We're watching Chris Hayes
We're looking
tonight.
into several properties where Trump reported different valuations to banks and tax authorities.
That just shows you how scared Joy
The
Reid
Trump
is.
Organization owns
Shows
an
you how
office building
scared
at
she
40
is.
Wall Street in Manhattan. In 2012, when the company was listing its assets for potential lenders, it said the building was worth $527 million,
Okay, James
which would
Polk.
make it
Thank
among
you,
the most
Justy.
valuable in New York.
But he was
But just
Speaker
a few months
first and
later,
President
the
second.
Trump Organization
Trump
told
would be
property
President
tax
first and
officials
Speaker
that the
second. Trump's
entire
still winning.
70-story building was worth less than a high-end Manhattan condo, just $16.7 million. According to newly released city records, that was less than 1/30th of the amount it had claimed the year before. That property is now under scrutiny from the Manhattan District Attorney and New York Attorney General, along with several others like it, for which the Trump Organization gave vastly different value estimates.
The world
According
was
to
so much
public
more
records and
fun
people
when Trump was
familiar
on
with the
social media.
investigations who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss ongoing inquiries.
This is literally
As the
not
Washington
news.
Post notes, appraisers have said it is highly unusual for a company to provide such widely different valuations of the same
is covering
properties at the
Jussie
same
Smollett
time.
better than Joy
Trump's lawyer
Reid.
responded today saying, quote, Mr. Trump
TMZ
is
is
right when he
defeating
says
Joy
this is a
Reid.
witch hunt. We are not concerned about it because he has done nothing wrong. I'm joined now
Chris
by
Hayes
Tim
is so
O'Brien, senior
whipped.
columnist at Bloomberg Opinion,
He
and
is
Tristan
so
Snell,
whipped.
former assistant attorney general of New York and managing partner of Main Street Law. Mr. Snell, I'm going to point you to the
Chris
tweet
Hayes
that
once
you put up
retweeted me
earlier
while I
today.
was
You
still
said
a Democrat.
If the New York AG
I was so excited. I was
wants
like,
to
oh
depose
my
Trump, it's because they've already assembled their case. Trump's testimony would just be the icing. You don't go after the CEO until you've already gotten all the other evidence. This case is 90% built. Does that mean you
These
believe
guys
that
are
Donald Trump will be
fooling
indicted?
themselves. Donald Trump's not, he might be indicted, but he's not
Oh, okay.
gonna, like, nothing's
We're
gonna
having
happen.
some issues with Mr. Snell's audio, so we're going to come back to him. I'm going to go to you, Tim O'Brien, to set aside whether or not we believe that there will
Nothing's gonna
actually be an
happen to
indictment.
Trump,
A lot of people doubt
please.
Trump will ever face accountability.
Trump will never
But
face
if he shows up for
accountability.
this deposition, you've dealt with him in
And
the
it's not even
deposition
accountability.
before.
You're
How do you
doing a
expect him
witch
to
hunt.
behave?
You are doing a witch hunt. Trump did nothing
Well,
wrong.
Donald Trump's biggest problem, Joy, is that he is a flagrant and unhinged liar. And that is
Trump did nothing
a
wrong.
lawyer's worst case scenario, to put someone under oath who isn't capable of actually telling the truth. This is a very targeted deposition. When we deposed Donald Trump, we had lots and lots of issues to discuss with him.
If you
over
think
lots
Trump
and
did
lots
nothing
of
wrong,
years.
type
We looked
chat
at
in
the
Trump did
valuation
nothing
of all of his
wrong.
properties. We had his tax returns. We looked at his dealings with his insurers. We looked at what he got for speaking fees when he went on the road.
He
Tish
charged
James's
money for
office is
speaking
focused,
like
I think,
every
primarily on
president
three
and
properties:
fucking famous
7
person
Springs in
ever.
Westchester,
How much does Hillary
40
Clinton
Wall
charge
Street,
for
and his hotel
speaking?
in Chicago.
How much does Bill charge for
on
speaking? Can Bill even speak
issue
anymore?
of
I don't
whether or
even know.
not
Bill looks
he
like a
inflated the
skeleton to
values
me.
when he wanted a loan and
Is
deflated
Bill
the
even
values when he wanted to
functional to be
lower
able to
his
give a
tax
speech
bill.
anymore? Trump did nothing wrong.
I do think this signals that she's very near the end of her investigation. I do not think she'd seek to depose him unless they felt
Blue
they
Dragon's
were
like
fully
Trump did
armored
nothing
up
illegal.
with
Whether or not
all
he
of
did something
the
wrong is
evidence
another
they needed
story.
to put on the table across from him. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds to documentary evidence that's contradicts
The
what he
Mango
or people in his
Mussolini did
organization
nothing wrong.
have said in the
Joy,
past.
suck on that.
That's what my lawyers did when we
Why aren't you
deposed him and we
covering
stripped the
Jussie
bark off of
Smollett?
him like an old tree.
You have one job,
we
Joy, and that is
caught
to
him in, I
report
think,
the news.
more
Why
than
aren't you covering Jussie
30 different
Smollett?
lies during 2 days of
I made
depositions
a whole
in late
goddamn thumbnail with
2007.
Jussie Smollett
The other thing
crying.
to remember, is that her
You're
investigation
letting me down,
is
Joy. You had
linked
one
to Cy
job.
Vance's investigation. They have been collaborating throughout, and Vance's investigation, I think, is broader and has longer legs than Tish James. So I think you can see these as part of the same effort.
Yeah, and Mr. Snell, we've got you back. So if they are now trying to depose the CEO, depose Donald Trump, does that indicate to you that someone below him has talked, has given him up and given up documents and information?
I think yes, but really the documents
Joy
are
Reid
really
has done nothing
the
right.
documents are really the key thing for the civil case, because at the end of the day, the civil case does not need to show intent. So it's less about testimony and more about the documents, and the documents are plain as day. The thing you showed earlier, Joy, really just puts the nail. It hits the nail
Chris
right on the
Hayes
head.
is not going to let
That
me
is a
down. We're going right into Chris Hayes after this. Chris Hayes is not going to let me down. Joy Reid is afraid. You can tell. Look at the look in her eyes. She's afraid.
These numbers really speak for themselves. Donald Trump didn't need anybody to snitch on him. He snitched on himself with how broad of a disparity that was.
This is like the conspiracy theory
Please explain to us
channel.
the difference in what would be if
Everything
Donald Trump
is
were
a
to lose this civil
conspiracy theory.
case and Letitia James were to win it. What would be the penalties for that versus a criminal case?
So the reason why everybody's been sleeping on this case and not really giving it that much attention is because people who want to see Donald Trump be brought to justice, they want to see him go to prison. This is a civil case. He's not going to go to prison. No one will for this matter. However, this could take an economic wrecking ball to the Trump organization. This could mean hundreds of millions of dollars in back taxes, penalties, other fees that he could have to pay to the state as well as to the lenders that he defrauded. So this could be ruinous for him financially.
And could he then face the criminal case if
This is like fantasy land. This is never going to happen.
He's going to face it with
this
a
is
1-2
never
punch.
going
He's
to
gonna have
happen.
the civil case and the criminal case going. We didn't realize until today how far along the civil case is. This is really far along. We wouldn't bring in somebody for this kind of testimony, like we were just saying, 90% plus of this case is already built. So this is really far along. He's going to get it. Trump's going to get it from both directions on this one.
And Tim, I've always sort of somewhat suspected that because of the sort of vagaries of the sort of daintiness of the Department of Justice and these OLC memos that say, oh, don't touch a former president, that Donald Trump is more likely to go down like Al Capone on his taxes, on the money stuff, and that's the stuff he's facing. He's facing a bunch of other civil lawsuits. He's facing a bunch of other criminal inquiries. But in the end, is it going to be his lies when it comes to his money that are going to be his biggest danger?
As long as they can tie him to those lies and tie him to what they are assessing on criminal acts, they are going to have to show intent in the criminal case. And Donald Trump is not a sophisticated man. He's an ignoramus in many ways, but he is a survivor, and he has this
outsmarted all of you, didn't he?
Evade the law.
He's an ignoramus that outsmarted every single one
he throws
of
under
you.
the bus when push comes to shove. And
See, like, I can admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Trump. I was fundamentally wrong about Trump, and it's because of people like this, because I was watching too much MSNBC.
So there's going to be a really
I was being
high
lied
bar,
to.
I think, for Cy Vance's office.
Now that you guys
to
are
say
watching
they know
MSNBC, you
he
see
did
the
it,
type
and
of
he knew
insanity.
he was doing
Can you
something
blame
wrong.
me?
Yeah,
Really?
he'll find a patsy.
Like, I was
he
watching
always
this
seems to find
this
somebody that's
stuff
willing
all
to
the
do
time.
It's really strange. Tim O'Brien, thank you very much. Tristan Snell, thank you very much. Thank you. And tonight's absolute worst is still ahead. But first, you wouldn't know it from watching the right-wing news channels, but the American economy is actually doing pretty darn well despite the ongoing pandemic. Next on the readout.
Oh my God. Joy Reid is going to run interference for how much Joe Biden is fucking up the economy. Holy shit. And that's considered more important than reporting on the Jussie Smollett verdict. Guys, if you're waiting for MSNBC's reaction to Jussie Smollett, apparently we aren't getting it from Joy Reid because she's a coward. But we're going to keep going. We're going to go right into Chris Hayes. I don't care. Enigma said when Trump was in office, Congress obstructed him at every term, and as Speaker, Trump can influence a lot more than people think. It'll be an epic move. That is a fair point. That is a fair point. It is a fair point indeed. But I just want to say, I don't know how much. So 60 or 76% of you don't think Joy Reid's going to mention Jussie Smollett tonight. Now, like, I just want to have a conversation. So when I was a Democrat, I was watching MSNBC all the time. It literally was. It was on like all the time in my house. And I was doing it purposefully. I knew I was in an echo chamber and I was like, I just want to hear from people who think like me. It'll make me feel better about the fact that Trump is president. But I was watching this crap all the time. Do you understand why I never knew I was lied to? Now, this was my fault. I'm not deflecting responsibility. I was choosing to watch it all the time. But this shit is crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy. Isn't it? This is why people on the left don't wake up, is because of stuff like this. I don't know. I think Chris Hayes, you know, from my recollection, Ari Melber was talking about it. Ari Melber was talking about it earlier. We'll see if Chris Hayes talks about it, and then I'm going to go chill out. But someone's going to talk. Someone's going to do it. No, I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored. I was like, yes, feed me that sweet goodness of everything I want to hear about how Trump is bad and wrong. Because, like, dude, I cried when Trump got elected. I did. I cried. I loved it. I was like, I only want to hear from people like me. And then I challenged myself to listen to other people, and I found out they weren't insane. But this is the media. Dude, the media is truly the enemy of the people. This is propaganda. These people are spouting. They're not reporting news. Number one, Joy Reid is not reporting breaking news. Like, absolutely refusing to. But this is like, do you guys see? This is conspiracy theory after 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 conspiracy theory. This is what people like my former lefty friends, this is what they watch all the time. All the time. Thank God I woke up. I don't know how it happened. I really don't. But thank God, because if I was still sucked into this all the time, I would be going crazy right now. Sometimes I think it's easier. Just T says, I can't stand listening to people who agree with me all the time. It is too good to be true. Yeah, but I think that sometimes it's easier. I mean, it's much easier, right? You don't have to challenge yourself. It is much easier to stay in your echo chamber than it is to break outside. Like, again, I've talked about this all the time, but think about what it means to wake up from something like this. I had to admit that every single thing I knew about the world was wrong. Every single thing I had thought for 20 years was wrong. Every single person I had trusted to report the news to me was wrong. It is a really difficult thing to go to, and I think people really underestimate what it means to wake up from being on the left. All right, I think she's coming back. All right, let's see.
Okay, so we got some really, really great news this morning. The number of people filing for weekly unemployment claims dropped to a 52-year low. something we haven't seen since 1969.
How many people left the workplace?
The year Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. When
How many people left the workplace?
Cost 10 cents,
this is where they're going to run
president was
interference for Joe
Nixon, and
Biden.
the top TV show was Rowan
They're
and
gonna be like,
Martin's
the
Laughing.
economy
Look it
is
up, kids.
great. Nothing is going
And if
wrong.
you
There's
adjust
no
today's
inflation
unemployment
at
numbers for
all.
population increase,
Inflation
jobless
is not,
claims have
inflation
never
is
been
good,
lower
actually.
than they are today.
Inflation is a good
In the first
thing,
year of
isn't
his
it, Joy?
administration, President Biden has overseen the addition of 5.8 million more jobs than Trump did during the same amount of time. Now, by any normal metrics, it is a Biden boom. And yet, the American people are still singing the blues.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just laughed
A new
very loud into
NPR
the mic.
Marist
I'm
poll
sorry.
finds that a majority of Americans say that they don't feel the direct payments that came from the Biden policies or the expanded child tax credits that they've been receiving for months.
Ooh.
It also
She's
showed
like,
that the
let me
American
tell you
public
how
doesn't understand how
NPR
Build
is
Back Better,
wrong.
with its free pre-K and paid
Build
family
Back
leave and
Better.
lowering
Build Back
prescription
Better.
drug costs,
Build
will
Back
help
Better.
address their top concern, inflation. And even when they do acknowledge that they have received direct cash payments, an equal share of those polled give the credit to both Joe Biden and Republicans, who literally opposed giving you that money
Republicans
and voted
wanted to
against
give you
it.
more money.
It is a complete disconnect between reality and the
Trump
feels,
wanted to give you more money.
which the gal who the woman who directed the polling explained as the result of Democrats not having a unified message on what they're doing. Cue Joe Manchin.
The unknown we're facing today is much greater than the need that people believing this aspirational bill that we're looking at. And we've got to make sure we get this right.
Oh, yeah, Tucker's going to lead with this for sure. Yeah, Tucker's going to lead with Jussie for sure.
Okay, so weirdly enough, Yachtman Joe and his friends in the Republican sedition crew seem to lose all their inhibitions about costs and inflation when it comes to pumping your taxpayer dollars into the Pentagon. The Senate is pushing to finalize a defense budget that's going to cost nearly $8 trillion with a T dollars over 10 years. That is almost 5 times more money for guns and tanks than Manchin and company are willing to spend on you, your kids, your health care, your clean water, and your elderly parents. Where's Senator Manchin's concern about flooding the market when it comes to that money? You know, the guy from West Virginia might want to listen to the former senator from Delaware, Joe Biden, who once said, "Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value." I'm joined now by David K. Johnson, tax expert, co-founder of DCReport.org, and author of The Making of Donald Trump. David, you know, I feel like part of the challenge that Democrats have is that they do good economic policy, but not good political policy. Back when George W. Bush was president, he sent out what we used to call the Bush bucks, $300 and $600 checks. You get this one big boom cash infusion. Economically, it's not as good because you're not like layering the money over time. You spend it one time and it's gone, but it gives him a political boost. Joe Biden actually got that when they did that first check, that $1,600, and they made up the rest of it. It was sort of like, you got $2,000. His approval ratings were up. But now that they've layered the money out so that you're getting it every month, people go, well, I don't feel like I got any money, and now I'm mad. You know,
I'm not getting any money.
Is that the problem, that they're doing good economic policy?
I'm literally not getting any money.
Oh, they're doing very bad politics. This White House communications office couldn't sell ice cream to children in church. I mean, this is one of the constant problems Democrats have. It's, you know, here's this 14-point policy memo.
It's not what Joy Reid was expecting.
This percentage of that, instead of reaching into the guts of people. So, you know, most people don't pay close attention to the news. They don't understand government spending policy or anything else. They understand practical things. I'm surprised that the checks to parents haven't had more of an effect.
Yeah.
Beneficial for the White House. But, you know, right now we've got a 4.6% jobless rate. It's very, very low by historical standards. The number of people who are unable to find full-time work or they've given up, it's called U6. It's the broadest measure of unemployment. It's only 7.4%. Now, I wish it was lower, but that's a very low number.
Only 7% of people have given up on finding a job at all. Think about that.
Long-term unemployed. They haven't been able to find a job for 6 months or more. It fell last month by 136,000. Try and find that in news reports.
They didn't put that in
front
percent.
page of the papers.
He just said that 7% of people have given up on finding a job. That's a lot.
Largely school teachers, older school teachers, can't risk getting COVID, or they have a spouse or a compromised child.
Oh yeah, it's just school teachers. Those are the
infected.
only people who can't find. It's
if
just
it weren't for
older
all the
school
losses
teachers.
of those
That's
jobs,
it,
we'd have even more job growth than we do. And
come on,
in October, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal,
older
the
school
Washington
teachers
Post,
should
and
become
the networks
homeschool tutors of what should
all
happen.
reported disappointing job growth of 210 jobs.
Yeah.
Donald Trump before the pandemic averaged
7.6% of people who've given up
jobs.
finding a
So
job,
that's
plus
12%
4.6% equals
Right.
a
But when
lot of
when he
effing
did it,
people.
the same media would be like, great job number. It's partly a disconnect also because the
A
media
lot of people
talks about
can't find
Republicans
work.
and Democrats differently, right? There's a much lower bar for Republicans. But I also wonder, too, if it's because there is sort of this worship of the corporate man. I mean, if you want to blame somebody for how things don't feel well, think about companies like Kellogg's. It makes your cereal, where they're about to lay off and permanently replace 1,400 union members who dared to go on strike because they want decent wages. There's this photo that's been circulating on Twitter that's a Kellogg union worker saying, I feed your families, but I can't feed mine. There are people like Elon Musk who's like,
Side note, did you guys see that a teachers union in New York, I think, sent out a tweet yesterday saying they're underpaid, but they misspelled underpaid? They spelled it under P-A-Y-E-D. Underpaid is spelled U-N-D-E-R-P-A-I-D. This teachers union said they were underpaid and they spelled it incorrectly. It was hilarious. It was amazing. It's on my Instagram.
Terrified about this inflation. I just jousted with some on the internet. The highest inflation since World War II. No, 7% is not. We had 20% inflation just before I was born. We've had 15% inflation in the past.
During
Reagan. There's no perspective. And journalists bear a lot of the blame for this, for writing stories that read like damn memos on policy instead of news stories that talk in plain English.
Yes.
But the White House and the Democrats have to learn marketing. The Republicans are really good at marketing.
Oh
I
my
admire
God,
how
the
good they are at
Republicans
marketing.
suck at
And
marketing so
Democrats know
bad.
this is a problem, but they never do anything about it. I hope we can get some Democrats on.
This
and
is
say,
why
"What's
I
wrong with you
always
people?
thought that
Go hire
Republicans
some
were better than
consultants to teach
Democrats
you
when I was a
the
Democrat.
principles of marketing."
It's this crap right here. Republicans
It's
suck
weird because
so
Democrats
bad.
have Hollywood,
suck
but they
so,
don't
so,
seem to
so
ask them,
bad.
like, how do you do marketing? I mean, the other thing is that Republicans, like, to your point,
As if
you know, they've
Hollywood
taken the
doesn't
word
constantly
inflation and turned it into the
propagandize for the
boogeyman word.
Democrats.
I guarantee you most of the Republican politicians couldn't define inflation if you paid them to. They don't even know what it means. They just say a word and they go, it's Biden. And so I wonder if it's the simplicity and the simplistic nature of Republican communication that makes it so effective.
Oh, no, I think that's
Wow.
exactly right. I was on Al Franken's podcast the other day, and I brought this up, and he said, well,
These people do
you
not
know,
live in
our
reality.
bumper stickers all end with continued on next bumper sticker.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. David K. Johnson, who speaks in normal, plain English. Thank you very much.
Holy shit.
Cheers. Thank you. Tonight's Absolute Worst is next. You don't want to miss
She's
it. Stay there.
literally not even going to acknowledge Jussie Smollett. Joy Reid is a hack. I cannot believe this. I'm so disappointed. When Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict, I was in London. I stayed up till like midnight in London to watch Joy Reid's reaction to Kyle Rittenhouse. And she talked about it. She did it from a hotel room. She wasn't even in the studio that night. Babada says, please get Yumi Park on as a guest. She's a North Korean defector. I'm just going to do this. Who, while became a naturalized U.S. citizen and has a book out about her escape. I am familiar with her. I'm not doing any guests right now. Really, I might do like one or two. I'm trying to take it easy in December, guys. I'm really burnt out. I'm trying to take it easy, but I have lots of awesome stuff planned for next year. Lots of good stuff. We're going to be doing a more diverse amount of content. I've got my second channel, Actively Unwoke. That's youtube.com/Actively Unwoke. We're going to start moving the stuff about fighting back against the woke nemesis in your life to that channel. I have a book coming out next year called Actively Unwoke. You can pre-order it on Amazon right now. So I'm going to be doing that content next year, but I'm going to start changing up the content on this channel a little bit to keep myself interested and frankly to fight the epic amount of burnout that I'm experiencing. So make sure you subscribe to my second channel, Actively Unwoke, if you would like to keep up on that. Naruto says, I occasionally watch TYT videos. Crap is crazy. Yeah, these people are nuts. These people are nuts. I cannot believe that Joy Reid has the gall to not address Jussie Smollett at all. We might be doing more of these reaction videos to MSNBC on this channel in the new year. Please make sure you are subscribed if you are not subscribed already. If you think you're subscribed, just double check. YouTube unsubscribes batches from my channel every single night. Every night. Turn on notifications. Mount that like button if you feel so inclined. These people are nuts. Rad said he pre-ordered my book. Thank you, Rad. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. It's called Actively Unwoke. I really enjoyed writing it. I think you guys are going to like it. It's a very practical book. It's a highly practical book. It's not about like this is not a theoretical book. This is not about here are trends we're seeing in the media. This is about what is going on. How do you decode the woke? What do you do about it? I've got lots of case studies in it of specific people who have fought back. I have a chapter about what to do if you're canceled. I have a chapter about what to do if to take care of yourself. I really like it. I think it's good. Sarah Nicholas says, I have a juicy thing about New Zealand media. The New Zealand Herald said that the end of 2020, there would be a terrorist attack among those who are protesting the government tyranny. How do they know that? How do they know that indeed, Sarah? That is a good question. How do they know that indeed? How do they know that indeed? Hang on, guys. I'm just going to get you guys. If you would like to pre-order my book, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. There's a link. Just to make it easy. Since we're hanging out during the commercial, spending some time together. We're going to roll into Chris Hayes. I want to see an MSNBC reaction to this. Hopefully he reacts as the lead and then I can go and hang out with my husband. Yeah, Alexandra, don't worry about it. It was a spur of the moment impromptu thing. Guys, again, please make sure you join my Locals community. Locals is free to join. KB ding. Locals.com. All right. Wait, is she coming back? No, they're doing some tribute to Bob Dole right now. Isn't it funny that they're like all about Bob Dole right now? Hang on. It's like Bob Dole like doing this. They hate Bob Dole. Please. I don't like Bob Dole either. So I'm not being judgmental, but thank you, David, for pre-ordering my book. I appreciate that. Okay, she's back. She's back.
Although Republicans want for Christmas is for you to get COVID, or so it seems. What else would explain the snake oil mentality of the American right? One of those Republicans is touting a new fake cure. This time it's elected snake oil salesman Ron Johnson, who says gargling mouthwash kills COVID. Now, let me be clear. Listerine is some pretty powerful stuff. But by powerful, we mean it can eradicate the scent of garlic bread from your tongue.
This
after a
is
tasty
definitely
lunch.
more important
Not
than
powerful as in
Jussie
it can kill COVID.
Smollett.
Otherwise, it'd be in the water. But more importantly, do not listen to this fool. Senator Johnson is not a doctor or a scientist. He's not any of the Johnsons
You know
and
who is
Johnson
a
and
doctor?
Johnson. He's a
Rand
public
Paul.
health menace,
Rand
and
Paul's
he's
a
spreading
doctor.
misinformation
You
that
don't
can
listen
kill.
to him anytime.
And then, of
Rand
course, there's
Paul's a
super
doctor who's
spreader
actually
television host
Wow.
Tucker Carlson. Hardly an avatar for the manly man. He's more of a Josh Hawley than a method man, which may explain why he created a fake log cabin set for his daytime show, so he could pollute real journalism even further while making you think he knows how to hunt his own dinner.
So much.
On Wednesday, casual Tuckums
Is
talked
Joy
to
Reid a
far-right
doctor?
racist Brexiteer Nigel Farage about British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's bout with COVID.
Fuck Boris.
Getting COVID
Boris is not a conservative.
emasculated him. It changed him. It feminized him. It weakened him.
It did
as
weaken
a man.
him.
The virus itself.
COVID did weaken Boris.
This is true.
Boris is a pussy.
Does
I
tend
said
to
it. I don't
take
have any
away
regrets.
the life force in some people. I notice. I mean, it
Boris
does
is
feminize
basically
people.
a
no
what
one
is
ever
it
says
in,
that, but
in
it's
labor?
true.
Boris is basically
Okay, Tuckums poo.
a member of the
Let's
Labor Party in
unpack
the
your
UK.
woman hating for just a bit. It's like textbook misogyny, this baseline retro variation where
He's calling
weak
Boris a
equates
bitch. That's
female.
not misogyny.
Even though women, through a long, painful, and awe-inspiring process, are how lives are created and the reason the human race forges on. It is women who are the life force, not weak-chinned blokes who ditch their bow ties for fake log cabins. But this isn't just about ridiculous people saying ridiculous things. People believe what these not-so-bright-wingers are saying. And not just in red states. Here's Jordan Klepper of The Daily Show talking to anti-vaxxers in, of all places, Los Angeles.
What do you think of the COVID vaccine?
I don't think it's a vaccine. I think it's snapping the DNA in half.
Check with the CDC for all your vaccine-related needs. I don't
recommend for
co-sign
public
this.
health,
I'm vaccinated.
people
Don't get me in
meditating?
trouble, YouTube. You
Of
might get me in
course.
trouble
People
for some
working out
things,
in
but not for
groups?
this.
Definitely. Eating healthy?
Check with the CDC.
Definitely. COVID vaccine? No. No. Coffee enema? Possibly.
Hey, sometimes you need a little sugar in your news about doomsday. But this is happening in every state, red, blue, and purple. It is
Sam says
dangerous,
leftists are only
lethal,
sometimes
and it comes
nice
as we
after
face
you
a possible
die.
winter surge
It's the
from
truth,
Omicron.
Sam. It's the
The
truth.
Republicans and Tuckums want to see that surge burn brighter than a Fox News Christmas
It's the
tree,
truth.
which is why they are tonight's absolute worst. And that is tonight's readout. All of them.
Wow, what a coward. Joy Reid, you are a coward. You are a coward, Joy. We're going to go right into Chris Hayes. I don't
Tonight
care.
on All
Jussie
In,
Smollett. Jussie Smollett.
Donald
God
Trump's case to
damn
keep
it.
his presidential record secret loses in court as the current president rallies
God
democracies
damn it.
around the
They're
globe.
just not going to cover
This
it.
is the defining challenge of our time. Democracy.
Tonight, more alarming new signs of democratic erosion in America. Then Congressman Adam Schiff on the stinging
Maybe he'll
court
lead
loss
into
to the
it
former
by talking
president.
about this other
What's
stuff.
next from the Supreme Court and today's
Adam
big
Schiff
story
has an
of
opinion. That's
January
more
6th
important than breaking
developments.
news. Oh, Ali
Plus,
Alexander again. Okay.
To me, we have the strongest economy perhaps I have ever seen.
Oh my God,
more
shut the
great
fuck
news
up.
for workers as the American recovery
I'm sorry,
roars.
I'm getting
But
belligerent.
All In starts right now.
Someone's going to be tweeting at me like, Carlin lost her mind on YouTube.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes.
Jussie
Tonight,
Smollett,
just a few
Jussie Smollett,
hours
Jussie
ago,
Smollett.
D.C. Circuit Court ruled against the ex-president
God
in this case to
damn it.
stop the January 6th committee from getting their hands on his presidential records. It's
Emily
a big
says
decision.
I plan on
It's
getting
got
your
broad
book at the moment.
implications.
It's available
The
for
judgment
Kindle.
just
It
came
will be
down, and
available for
now
Kindle, guys.
Donald
It will be. It's not
Trump
just
has
yet.
2 weeks to petition the Supreme Court.
Wow.
We're going to be discussing all that in just a bit. We'll be joined by Congressman
Jussie
Adam
Smollett,
Schiff,
Jussie
who of
Smollett,
course sits
Jussie
on that
Smollett.
committee to discuss what the ruling means for their investigation. Also, what it all means for our country as we try to understand what happened
Chris Hayes,
on
you
January
absolute
6th,
shill.
the efforts to
Report
subvert
on news.
and weaken our democracy.
Do it. Is CNN
In fact,
reporting on this?
coincidentally,
Does anyone
today
know?
At the White House,
Has CNN
President
reported
Joe
on Jussie
Biden kicked
Smollett?
off the first ever Summit for Democracy. It's a 2-day virtual gathering, brings together leaders from more than 100 democratic governments around the world with the lofty goals of defending
Wow, look
against
at that TV
authoritarianism,
set that he's on.
addressing and fighting corruption, crucially, and promoting respect for human rights.
This is a
Of
real
course,
thing.
the summit takes place in the context of democracies in decline worldwide. The
Oh
Stockholm-based International
my
Institute for
God.
Democracy and Electoral
That's a real
Assistance
thing?
found that more than a quarter of the world's population now lives in democratically backsliding countries. This year, for the first time, the United States was added to that list. This morning, President Biden spoke about renewing the struggle.
After a year of
to
the Biden
protect
presidency, we
democracy
were
here and
added
abroad.
to the list of declining democracies.
Here in the United States, we know as well as anyone that renewing our democracy and strengthening our democratic institutions requires constant effort. American democracy
He can
is
barely
an
even
ongoing
speak
struggle
clearly.
to live up to our highest ideals and to heal our divisions, to recommit ourselves to the founding idea of our nation.
MSNBC,
Democracy
if we didn't say it, it
doesn't
never
happen by
happened.
accident.
MSNBC
We
is
have to renew
crying
it
a good
with
long
each
cry and
generation.
then not reporting
And
the
this
news.
is an urgent matter on all our parts. In my view,
I bet
this
Tucker's
is the
reporting
defining
on it.
challenge of
Is
our
Tucker
time.
reporting on this? I bet he
Vice
is.
President Kamala Harris also spoke, and she was even more explicit about what's happening and the growing peril to democracy.
Wow.
Democracy is presently under threat, and for 15 years has been on the decline. Around the world, autocrats have become
those bags.
emboldened. Human rights violations have multiplied, and corruption is undermining progress. And
Kamala Harris hates
misinformation
being vice
is
president.
undermining
She
public
hates
confidence.
being vice president.
And
you
so
know
it is
she hates
incumbent
being
on
vice
each of
president.
us,
She hates it.
individually and
She has
collectively,
no energy. She has
to
no
take
spirit. She's not even
action.
laughing weird.
Vice President's remarks really capture, in some ways, the strangeness of this summit and the strangeness of this moment. I'm glad they're holding a summit for democracy, but I also feel we really need to show,
MSNBC is
not tell here.
refusing to report
Lead
on
by
this.
example. The best thing I think the United States could do for global democratic
MSNBC
movements
is
right now
refusing
is
to report on
protect
this.
our democracy. And American democracy is under the most intense manifest threat it has faced in my lifetime, maybe even since the Jim Crow era. And I'm going to level with you for a moment about this. I feel a little conflicted about how to cover this democratic crisis, how to treat it. It seems incredibly urgent to me. And at the same time, I got to say, I'm not necessarily hopeful the people in power will take the steps necessary to fix it. And I don't want to stand here and forecast endless
Wow.
authoritarian doom if they don't. Because, well, the future's unwritten. No one knows for sure where this is all headed. But the fact is that the developments are pretty bad and things are moving in the wrong direction right now. The really worrisome trend is that what you might call minoritarian anti-democratic institutions are building on
Minoritarian.
each other to further entrench power and barricade in minority rule. In other words, they're using the power they have now to extend that power into the future and kind of majority-proof it. What do I mean by that? Let's take one example, gerrymandering.
Wow.
Right now, nearly all 50 states are going through the process of redistricting.
Oh my
redrawing the
God, I
maps to
can't.
divide the
I'm sorry. I can't. He is basically repeating exactly the same thing that Joy Reid just repeated, which is reporting on a news story that isn't actually news. This is not news. They could have reported this any single day of the week. This is not news. This is them repeating talking points because they don't want to report on Jussie Smollett. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this stream up. I need to get some food. Jenny's getting inky with it, says, surprised he isn't reporting Sasquatch sightings and alien abductions. Her show sounds like a grocery store tabloid. How could anyone determine what's really going on with all those hateful opinions? That's right. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I really thought we were going to get some Jussie Smollett reaction goodness. I did. I think we all did. I think we all thought that MSNBC would not have the gall to not report news. Just ignore it. I mean, I dare to dream. I should have known better. But what I did learn tonight is that you guys like Joy Reid reaction videos. I've been thinking about doing this anyway. Maybe we'll do some more Joy Reid live reaction. If YouTube isn't going to kick me off for doing it, I'll fucking do it. I don't care. I feel like I'm a small enough channel where I can fly underneath the radar. I think it was fun. Did you guys have fun? Was this a fun stream? Type yes into the chat if you had a fun stream. I thought it was fun. Now, tomorrow, again, just for those of you who didn't missed it earlier, tomorrow we will not be doing our regular happy hour at 3 p.m. because I'm going to go get a tattoo. And so I will be maybe posting content in the morning. I'll be doing some stuff over the weekend. Please make sure you guys, oh, you like this. Okay. We can do Joy Reid reaction videos. Okay, that's fine. We can watch Joy Reid together. We can suffer together. I had fun. Maybe I'll bring some other people on. We'll have panels for Joy Reid reaction time. I'll have to think that out. But guys, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure you join my locals community, kb.locals.com. If you become a supporter in my locals community, which is $5 a month or $50 a year, you get access to all special perks, including all the features in locals. Plus, you get Zoom calls with me twice a week. I spend 6 hours a week on Zoom calls with my locals. I've got lots of awesome stuff planned for my locals. Locals is the place that allows me to do what I do. It's not YouTube. I'm not making the money on YouTube. I'm not. Maybe if I do more Joy Reid reaction videos, I will. Who knows? But please join my locals community. That way we can always keep in touch in case I get censored or banned or anything else on any other platform. But guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Tattoo day tomorrow. I'm so excited. I get to get a tattoo. I haven't gotten a tattoo in like 3 or 4 years. I'm really excited. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. All right, guys, that's all I have for right now. Please mount that like button on the way out the door. We'll see you soon.